How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, do me a huge favor, go ahead and subscribe before we get started into today's video. It's been a little while since the S650 Mustang has come out, and I've had some time to kind of think, to reflect about how I really feel about the car, knowing the information that we have been given from Ford. I was at the launch with my S550 right here. We'll take it out in just a second here, but I thought it'd be a good day to take out the S550 to give it a nice wash. It's almost 40 degrees and sunny, so we're definitely gonna take it. Let's get this thing for a wash and talk about why I won't, or why I think at this point in time I will not be buying an S650 Mustang. But let's get a quick cold start up on my S550 Mustang. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I also don't know why I said cold startup. This definitely is not a cold startup. I drove the car probably an hour ago. Always has a super nice rumble to it. I feel so bad for this car. We're gonna give it a nice undercarriage wash and a touchless car wash. Normally I would wash this thing myself on a day like this, even though it's a little colder, but it's still 40 something degrees. But the underside of this car needs to be washed out. But on our way there, let's talk about the new Mustang and kind of my thoughts behind it. I told you guys how I felt immediately. So when we first talked about it, I told you guys I wouldn't really be buying one. It's a little, you know, it's new and it's got a bunch of screens. I like the S550 better. I think it's styled a little weird, all of those things. When it first came out, I didn't say that I didn't like it, but I also definitely wasn't pleased with it. Now that we've had a couple of months to kind of reflect on how it looks, I'm a fan of how it looks. I think it's a really nice facelift. One of the things I said when it first came out is it feels like a facelift, not a next generation. They say that they changed almost every single panel from the outside, but when I look at it, I see S550 Mustang Plus. You know, I see a facelift right there. They just made like the Pro Max version of the S550, just like they did with the new GTR, as a whistling diesel might say. But I really think they made it way too similar on the outside. I would have liked to see something a little different, maybe a little more retro styled something, and I was just left a little underwhelmed when I saw it. And that's kind of the reason I was a little confused on how to feel about it, because I honestly was expecting more. Had my expectations a little too high. But those things being said, I still like it. It's still a good looking car. It's a very nice, modern American sports car, and that's exactly what the Mustang is, and I think they really did a good job at nailing that point. I don't want to hate on it too much, because I honestly think I had my expectations a little too high, and the reason I think I had my expectations so high was because of the new Nissan Z, because of the new Supra, and all of these new cars coming out have really come out with some amazing styling. And I don't know why I expected Ford to do something amazing. Maybe because I think they did a really good job with the Bronco, bringing the retro and the new together. I kind of thought they were going to do something like that with the new Mustang, but they didn't. So them being so similar to the S550 already is definitely one of the reasons why I don't really want to get one, or I'm not too keen on getting one. There are some circumstances where I would consider getting the new S650 in the first couple of years it was being made. One of those would be if it was to provide content. You know, if we did hit like a couple 100,000 subscribers and a lot of people wanted to see it, I think that would be something that I'd be willing to do. I'm definitely wanting to drive it, experience it, but I just right now I see way too many similarities to want to step into that one. Plus I like my S550 in terms of the looks a lot better, and on top of that, the interiors. I hate the Tesla screens or the iPads or whatever you want to call them. They just have screens now. There's no like finesse to it. It just looks cheap in my opinion. You know, there's like a whole structure here. I think this looks good. You know, the screen looks okay in my opinion, but it just 2 or 3 screens looks horrible. Even the S550, when it has the digital dash, it's a super nice digital dash. It's shaped just like these dashes are with the analog dash. They're shaped the same way. The new S650 just has screens, and it looks bad in my opinion. The minimalist look that Tesla has kind of normalized, in my opinion, is horrible. I hate it. I love having designs to my car. I love having features in the car and buttons in the car. It makes life easier, and it also just makes the cars way more appealing to look at than iPads. Another huge thing is the MT82 still exists from everything that I know. I talked to the designers or engineers or whoever was there at the event for Ford, and I asked them, like, hey, what transmission are you putting in the normal GT? Because you can tell by their verbiage and the way they're talking, right? They're like, the new Dark Horse has a Tremec. And I'm like, I get the Dark Horse has a Tremec. The Dark Horse is a new Mach 1. The normal GT still has the MT82, which is a transmission that I'm not too fond of, not just because of the issues, I just don't like how it drives, which is what I talked about in the last video. I don't like how this transmission drives, and I don't want to sell my car because I just love my Mustang. I have such a connection with the car at this point, but it's just one of the things that really brings this car down, and they're still keeping it in the next generation, and that's just something that I don't want to be a part of anymore. So if I was to buy a car and spend $45,000-$50,000 on a new Mustang, I wouldn't want to have that, and I wouldn't buy it simply because of that. I'll state this once again, I know I've kind of trashed on the new S650. I like how it looks. I think it's a really cool thing that Ford came out with another version of the car and another model year. They kept it very similar, which isn't always a bad thing. I think the S550 was one of the best Mustangs ever made, so it makes a lot of sense to keep this car. Shelby models, definitely possible upgrades into the garage, definitely possible additions to the garage in the future. I would be excited to see how the Shelbys come out, what they do with them, and how they do. Another thing to keep in mind is eventually they'll do a facelift of the car. They're going to change the bumpers up, they're going to change the power plant up, they're going to renew the interior in some type of way, so that'll be exciting to see how they do that, and how they decide to do and with or without the screens and the updates. They might even just do like a screen update. But on a different note, we have the Mustang all cleaned up, have it slightly refueled. Let's get it air dried a little bit because the wash never gets it all the way dry. And let's take a look at how it came out. Came out pretty nice. All of those water spots are gone. A couple water droplets here and there. I'm gonna go home and dry it off completely. I'm so happy that I could get some of those water spots out. I imagine this thing's gonna be clean for a solid 5 days before it gets dirty again, because it's gonna snow most likely and all of that stuff again, but it's clean for now. Dodge has officially said that they're going EV. They're no longer doing the whole V8 thing, which is a huge disappointment. Chevy has killed the Camaros because of poor sales, and they're no longer doing V8s. The Corvette, this is the last Corvette that there ever is going to be, and after that they're going full electric with Corvette sedans and SUVs, but the Mustang is here to stay for now, and we get to listen to this sound for the next couple years at least. It sounds so good. I'm so happy that Ford went and decided to go with another generation of the Coyote V8. And I can complain and say that I don't really like the new one all too much. It's too similar, whatever. But they kept the V8, and that's all that really matters. I don't think I'm going to be adding an S650 unless it's a Shelby edition or some type of really cool, different, unique edition comes out, which I guess we'll see what happens in the future, but I will not be getting an S650 GT because I like the S550 better as far as everything that I'm seeing. If they added the Tremec transmission, it might have been a consideration, but they didn't. That's all I have for this video, though. Let me know what you guys think about the new S650. S550, S650. Which one would you buy? If you already had an S550, would you upgrade? That's all I have for this one, though, and I'll see you guys in the next video.